We're live.
Hello, welcome back
Hi, Ben.
to the show with the new tagline. We just voted on it about 60 seconds ago, and by that I mean I declared it. The bi-weekly tech news and nerd stuff podcast.
I had no clue what you're talking about. Yeah. Hey. We're yeah. I'm good. Yeah. We're gonna have a little bit more of Twitch interaction, and just by that I mean it's solely gonna be on my side. So it's probably not gonna happen with Ben, but I'm gonna work with a bit of like Twitch tools that I haven't really been able to work with. I'm probably not gonna talk about it, but it's gonna be there. So yeah, this is Internet. Are we friends yet? Where, as Ben said, say it for me because I can't talk.
What was it?
Your tagline.
Bi-weekly tech news and nerd stuff.
Yeah. So I'm Ben. He's Ethan. I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben, and he's Ethan.
He's
Wait, that wasn't a bit. You were just okay.
No. I'm just sometimes a little bit dense. So I'm
Words are hard,
Ben.
and names are made up words.
I'm Ethan. He's Ethan.
I'm Ben. We're all Ethan.
I'm having a stroke.
Everyone here is Ethan. The person in the background of his video is also Ethan.
Yes,
His cat is
I'm
named
Ethan.
My cat is over there. You can't see it, and I'm not moving the camera, so too bad. But
I don't even
its
know
name is also Ethan.
why we're doing an announcement about it, because
My girlfriend's name is also Ethan.
my fiance's name has already been announced. It's Ethan. I'm Ethan.
Congrats, Ethan.
That's Ben. Behind me is
Ben.
my fiance, Abby. She sometimes has the occasional smart thing to say, and not smart aleck, just smart. Over here, occasionally you will see Artemis the cat. She is not here currently, but hi. We're 2 minutes into this podcast, and I already have
And
lost
so
my train of
far,
thought.
We've established one thing, and that is Ethan.
Ethan, are we friends yet? New name. Ethan, are we friends yet? So,
Ethan.
hey,
Are we Ethan yet?
Ethan.
It'll sell like hotcakes.
You mean to
We
sell
did
like
it.
Ethan cakes?
It'll sell like Ethan.
Did you say Ethan?
I sure did. All right.
Okay.
What's first on the docket?
The first on our wonderful list is, hey Ben, I came prepared with the game today.
Oh boy.
So I will say I've talked with a couple people, my family, and they said they do actually enjoy the game. The reason we didn't have a game last time is I was unprepared and not ready, but this time I am. So this game is going to be a bit more personal, and what's going to be happening is, Ben, I have two stories for you. One is real,
No.
and one is fake.
And you've test run these specific stories?
Some people have already heard this story. Some people, like such as May, has heard it before. I'm not telling you whether it's the fake one or the real one. Abby has heard it. Abby actually helped me pick the real story, and but yeah. So I nearly just outed myself. I'm gonna start with the blank story. So are you Ben, Mr. Ben last name?
I am ready. Hit me.
Metaphorically or literally?
This is PG, so metaphorically.
No, I could like pat you on the back. That's a hit, right? All right. So story number one. So growing up, I went to a lot of summer camps. And they were always like multiple, yes, and they were always like the.
I said believable, but okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're cutting out a little bit. You might want to adjust your gain,
Got it.
or your sensitivity, something in there. I'm just gonna start using smart words like photosynthesis, so that way people know, hey, that guy's pretty smart.
Mitochondria.
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of this jail cell. Anyway, so focus. So I did go to a lot of summer camps, but I actually helped run the summer camps. Usually between the ages of 8th grade middle school to like almost sophomore high school. I helped run quite a few, and they were all over Texas. And by all over, I mean sometimes we would have to drive 8 hours just to get there. And so these summer camps, you know, they're summer camps. They're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And our home camp, it's called our home camp because it was
when do they take place?
summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like between June and early August, if you wanted an actual measurable time.
No, I was just being an idiot.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty normal. But yeah, so we have our home camp, and we call it the home camp because it is the one closest to us. And if it's closest to us, the organization that like hosts it always sends you to your home camp. And then if another camp says, "Hey, we need some more help out here," they're like, "Hey, this person is good. Let's send him over here." But our home camp was pretty much always stocked filled with people from home. And so we're sitting there, we get sent up, and this was my 3rd year at this camp, and we were helping run camps for kids that were from 1st grade all the way up to 5th grade who come with their churches. And so they're supposed to learn like certain outside skills, such as, you know, tying knots, what plants are what, and, you know, all at the same time learning about Jesus. Yay, woo, Jesus. And so, Jesus, yeah. And so at this camp, you know, we're kind of in the Great Plains area, which means we actually have quite a few, like, deadly things. Coyotes, rattlesnakes, desert tarantulas.
I saw a coyote the other day. That was pretty fun.
We have a dog that kind of looks like a coyote. But yeah.
I love dogs.
Dogs are great. But this is sadly not a story about a dog. It's a story about a rattlesnake. So
I love snakes.
The snakes are pretty cool, but rattlesnakes are not. Running right through the middle of our camp is a pretty dry river. It's usually a riverbed, but if we get tons of rain, it becomes a proper river. And that also means there's tons of tall grass on either side of it. Well, tall grass is a fun place for snakes to hide out. And the kids knew this. Like, I want to note, our kids, they're smart. They know.
Alligators in Florida.
We don't have alligators.
That's because you're not Florida.
You're right. But yeah, our kids knew. And this was my 3rd year helping run, and so I had the 3rd graders that I had 2 years prior. Like, all of them knew me. I knew all of them. And
about what grade were you in, if I may ask?
I would have been almost a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
But I was also held back a class, so I would have been aged nearly 16. I would say. Well, not nearly. I would have been just 15 because my birthday is in March. So yeah, I'd say around 15.
Okay.
And so we were out one day, and it was around lunchtime, and I saw a couple of the kids kind of like messing around near the river, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know, what's going on? And one of them comes running over to me and goes, "Ethan, there's a rattlesnake." And my first thought is, oh no, a rattlesnake. So this is why they always have 2 people helping run each grade. I look at my coworker, and I say, "Go get the hoe." All of us that work knew exactly what that means. In the garden shed, there's a sharpened hoe that's specifically for killing snakes. I look back at the kids and I say, "Go get a proper adult, get a counselor, go find Rolly." Rolly was like the outdoor guy. He knew how to make a refrigerator using a barrel and hand sanitizer. I'm not even joking.
Okay.
I can explain that later. And so
you have Bear Grylls on your side?
Not yet. He hasn't shown up yet. But I tell the kids, go find a counselor, go find Rolly, find something. And I look at the other guy and I say, go find the hoe. I do not want to lose this snake because there's a rattlesnake in the middle of an area with tons of boys. I want to clarify, they're all guys aged from 1st grade to 5th grade. Something bad is going to happen if I just stop and I leave it. So he goes and
See, kids are stupid. So one of them is gonna dare the other one to go up to get it, and
that's what was
someone's gonna get
happening.
hurt.
That's why I had to say, go away, go find someone else.
How did I know?
Because one of them was like, go touch it. And so I'm
Look,
looking.
I love kids, but kids are idiots.
They really are. I say the same
I'm
thing
still
about
an
my
idiot,
cat.
but
I'm an older idiot. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, go away. And I'm looking, and for those who don't know, a snake about to attack is coiled up. And that's what this rattlesnake was, is he was coiled up.
unhappy.
He was very unhappy. There was the rattle, there was the coil. I was keeping my distance. These kids were, I mean, they were far enough away that they wouldn't be struck, but they were close enough that it was agitating it. So I got them to go away. I'm sitting there watching it, and the entire time I'm sitting here thinking, I've never killed a snake. What do I do? I was lucky. I was wearing jeans, which, jeans are thicker for a snake to get through. I was not wearing boots, however. That's the main reason people wear boots. They're like, snake cannot get through that hard leather. I was wearing tennis shoes, and so
jeans and flip flops.
no, I was wearing tennies. And so I'm sitting there thinking, what do I do? What do I do? How do I deal with this? My coworker starts coming back with the hoe, and I can see him like crossing the bridge. And as I'm watching him, the snake starts to uncoil and then starts coming my way. So I'm sitting there, like, I'm waving, like, kind of slowly, like, at my coworker. It's here. Careful, it's coming. No sudden movements. I just hit my microphone. So for those who are watching the Twitch stream, that means the prediction just came true. So yeah, I was like, hey, hold on. He shows up, slowly, calmly, hands me the hoe, and I get ready. And for those who haven't hoed weeds before, you let the gravity do the work. You put it behind your back, and you don't force it down. You, like, sling it over and let the gravity pull it down. And so that means it's similar with a snake. We had the sharpened hoe, the snake was coming at me, and I'm sitting here thinking, crap, what do I do? I see, like, far in the distance, the counselor coming, and it probably would have been a good 7 minutes before we got there, just because A, slow counselor, and B, big campus. Can't campus. And so
Okay.
I'm like, got it. I swing at the snake, and I missed the first time. I grazed him,
And then you die.
and then I
It
died.
gets you and you die.
I died. That's the plot
That's
twist.
a great story. I
Great
love
story.
that one.
No. So I grazed it, which that started to irritate it. It started to come at me. I swung again, obviously freaking out this time. But at the same time, it's not like a, oh God, what am I going to... Actually, it was like an, oh God, what am I going to do? But it's not a... It's a, breathe. You can handle it. Swing the second time. I took his head right off. And then Rolly comes up behind me, and he's like, all right, well, good job, kid. And I was like, I was in shock afterwards. Yeah.
What else do you do?
To put it in perspective, Rolly would have just picked up the snake with his bare hands and just walked out to the other side of campus and dropped it back off.
I figured that from what you've described, it sounds like I was almost expecting him to be upset.
No. He understands that, like, this thing is a danger. We need to deal with it however we can. Him dealing with it is, hey, kid, look at the snake. It's really cool, isn't it? Don't touch it. Stay back.
But he also doesn't want to encourage 15-year-olds to pick up rattlesnakes.
I mean, yeah. And so he's like, yeah. So good job. Like, yeah. And so, okay. But that's the story of how I actually ended up killing a rattlesnake. And that is the end of the first story. Can I get a gut check?
Please fill up the snake.
What is your guts check on that? Do you think that is? I'm not telling you.
My gut's good. I've been having my probiotics, yogurt, and everything.
I mean about the story, Ben. The story. Because remember, that story is either real or fake. The next story I'm going to tell. Say again.
Isn't every story either real or fake?
Yeah.
Believable enough.
It's believable. Now,
there are a few things in there that there's a few moments where I was like, maybe not. Maybe he's just rolling with it.
And you also have to remember, living in Texas, we deal with a lot of rattlesnakes. Unrelated note, and this is not part of the story. This is just a fun fact about Texas. Sometimes in the summer heat, if you're driving out on like county roads or country roads, you can see so many desert tarantulas crossing the road that it looks like the road is moving off in the distance.
Tarantulas,
And
tarantulas.
as you drive over, there's an audible crunch just from so many of them. It is terrifying, and I am a huge arachnophobe, and I hate it. Okay, so that's the first story, though.
Thank you for running off all of our viewers.
You're welcome. For anyone else who is terrified of spiders, here's another fun fact. Spiders are deterred by the scent of lavender. So that's how you can scare them away, is lavender.
Lavender deodorant. It smells great anyway.
That's actually the deodorant I use. So that's the first story, Ben. Are you ready for the second story?
You don't even know how ready I am.
All right, Ben, on a scale of 1 to ready, how ready are you?
Ethan.
So this also happened around middle school, but I was younger around this time. I was about 6th grade.
You were a young man, a young lad, a young wee lad. Sorry, I'll let you talk.
Boobity bobbity. But yeah, I like 6th grade. I actually have no clue what 6th grade translates to an age.
I don't know.
I want to, like, because I know some of our foreign viewers don't know what that is. 6th grade age.
Well, I guess like
10,
11
to 12 is what online says. Okay. So
good.
Yeah. So in 6th grade, I was super short. That's not relevant to the story. I just was super short. And I was going to public middle school. And fun fact for those who don't know, in public middle school, you run into a lot of people. And this once happened literally. I did not run into someone, but I saw someone run into this random girl while she was at her locker. And he hit her hard enough that her books and papers went everywhere. And I genuinely mean everywhere. And the guy that ran into her just walked off. And I, little 6th grade Ethan, who's super nervous and knows, nothing about social situations.
For extra context for international viewers, 6th grade is generally the 1st grade of middle school.
Yes.
So you've just left elementary school and you are now the fresh meat.
Yes. And also, this was towards the beginning of the school year. So I was super, super, nervous, scared, social. Imagine going to a brand new place, but also a brand new place where everyone bullies you. That was what middle school was for me. And so I saw this happen, and nice guy Ethan just stops, puts his stuff down, and helps pick everything up. And it's kind of like, have you seen those movies where someone, stops and helps the person, and they turn to say thank you, and they're gone? That's what I did. I helped her pick.
Turn to say thank you, and then
yeah, I was gone.
Starts playing slow mo and
yeah. Sure, no, it did not turn into a love scene.
And it was Abby.
That's how I met my fiance. No, that's not. I can tell that story later though. No, so I was gone, and she didn't even get to tell me a proper thank you or anything, and so but that's not the end of the story. So then, the following weekend, my family and I were at church. Surprise, surprise. I went to church. And while at church, our pastor gets up and starts talking about kindness. And he's sitting there talking, and he goes, I'll be honest, I was not going to be talking about this today, but we're talking about kindness. And he goes, someone showed a random act of kindness recently. My daughter, who started school, brand new at the school, got knocked and lost all of her books everywhere. And some random kid helped her pick everything up and then just vanished. And the entire time he's sitting there telling the story, and he drew it out a bit more than I did. But the entire time he's telling the story...
I'm vanished?
Yeah, I vanished. Poof. I got Thanos snapped.
I didn't know you could do that. Wow, you gotta show me sometime.
I'm a magician. But yeah, so the entire time he's telling the story, I'm looking more and more at Mom, and then I start hitting her knee. And I'm like, hey, that's me. He's talking about me, and she's like, what? No, you're making that up. And then after the sermon and after church, because growing up I was a pretty bad kid at home. I didn't ever listen to Mom. I didn't Like you know how
You
the kid.
did clean your room.
Yeah. And so I'm like, that's me. And she's like, no, like surely not. That's just a coincidence because we were also new to that church. And so after the sermon, I go up and there's the girl. It's the pastor's daughter, and I'm like, that's her. That's the one I helped. And she got to thank me, and mom was like, huh, you really weren't lying about it. I'm like, yeah, no, I wasn't lying about it. And so then mom and the pastor's wife started becoming close friends, and that's the second story. I don't know how to end stories, but that's the second story. Ta-da!
It's a lot easier when you cut to the credits, you know.
Yeah. Ta-da! So I am being patted. Hold on, what's up? She put a bee in a boat, in case everyone was curious.
I did that by accident the other day. In Minecraft.
In Minecraft, not in real life. Though that could be a personal objective. Put a bee in a boat. All right, Ben. Can I get some feedback? What is your gut check? I will answer any questions for either story.
The first one is less believable than the second one, but I think that's intentional. I think you're trying to fake me out.
Okay. Do you have any questions related to either story you want to ask? The snake was named Gerald.
I thought it was Philip.
No, it was Gerald.
Oh.
And the girl was named.
The funeral for Philip.
The girl was named Caitlin.
What's your blood type? Or social security number, either one.
Neither are relevant to the story, so I'm not going to tell you.
Oh. I have no questions. I think... I probably should have been paying more attention to the specific details to see if anything doesn't add up.
I mean, like I said, I can repeat anything you want for either story, especially the made-up one.
They're both pretty believable. But like I say, I think the first one is less believable, but I think that's the point.
That's the catch. You think that's...
I think you're trying to fake me out. I don't trust anyone. I'm not a part of the system.
Okay. So what does the system think and what does Ben think?
I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say the snake story is... Give me a second. Let me double...
You're trying to read my emotions, aren't you?
No, I'm just double guessing myself.
Okay.
Because
Flip a
I don't
coin.
think being wrong.
Flip a coin, but don't say an outcome. You'll know what you want whenever it's in the air. This is great to watch, by the way.
I was just staring at my cat for emotional support. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go with the snake story is the real one.
You think the snake story is the real one?
Snake story is the real one.
All right. We're gonna give a moment. Let everyone kind of think about what they think.
Let the game show music build up.
Okay. And I could actually put on some music. Just go to Google. But yeah. All right. After that dramatic pause, the snake story is the fake one. I do have many interesting stories from summer camps, but the snake story is fake. I have told that almost... Say again?
Is it based on a true story at all?
Yes.
Is it like play with... Okay.
So like I said, I've told people that one, and then I told them afterwards that it was fake, and I asked if they thought it could be real. And so,
you didn't make people guess?
No, I did.
Oh,
and
okay.
May was one of the other people I asked, and she goes, "Yeah, that sounds like it's real." Like, nope, it's fake. And so I was gonna ask, have I ever told you the story of how I was almost mugged?
I'm not sure.
Because I was going to use that one, but then I realized, I don't know if he knows it, and that was my dilemma. But no, it is similar. So there were two kids who saw a rattlesnake, but it was not near the river, and I was not near them. They came and they told Rolly, that he is a real guy. And I followed, and you know what he did? He found the snake, grabbed it by the tail, and whipped it so hard he broke its neck.
Oh.
Yeah. And so.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so he that's what he did with
I
the
guess
snake.
it's all neck, but
It's all spine. But yeah, so we did have a sharpened hoe that was used for killing rattlesnakes. The only thing that was a catch was I did not kill a snake. I have killed
a
a
garden snake crawl up my leg one time. I didn't see it, and then I felt something on my leg that felt weird, and I looked down and I was like, "Oh!" And I just scurried off, and I was like, "Oh."
I killed a
buddy.
tarantula with the hoe.
Okay.
It was hissing at a couple of kids.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, tarantulas hiss. They're terrifying.
I'm not specifically an arachnophobe, but
Tarantulas are what really get to me.
yeah, my mom puts it as soon as they start getting big enough to have hair, that's when she's done.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. But like, whenever tarantulas hiss, they rear up on the back 4 legs, and the front 2 are like fangs. And I hate it. It's terrifying. And the worst part is they burrow. They burrow like gophers. You can take a step somewhere, and it will come out and try to get you.
Cool.
I hate it so much.
Is Texas just fun size Australia?
Yes, actually, yes.
Everything's not upside down, it's just tilted.
It's 90 degrees.
There you go.
But I hate it. But no, do you want me to tell the mugging story, or do you want to save that for another time?
I think that should be for another time.
Hey, that can be our pull-in, though. If you want to hear me tell my mugging story, watch us live. Hey, Ben, when are we live?
I forgot earlier today, but I checked my calendar and it reminded me it's 8 p.m. Eastern every other Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. I got
messages me.
mixed up.
Doesn't the podcast start at 7 tonight? Like, no. I go to the YouTube VODs, and I'm like, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
You know how I checked? I used the Discord event.
Yeah.
And then after you'd messaged me that, I checked, and it was like 30 minutes after that. I am on my home screen on my phone, and then I see, oh yeah, I have an event recurring. Then I could have just looked at my freaking phone. I could have scrolled down twice on my watch, and it would have said, podcast. 8 o'clock p.m.
But for those who are curious, our next one is scheduled to be February 13th at what time, Ben?
8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. If you don't live in one of those 2 time zones, we love you, but I'm not translating. You can Google it.
For those who are living in England, that is actually going to be 11.
We only have one time zone?
Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. In England.
Does Great Britain only have one time zone?
I don't know about Great Britain, but England does.
They're the same thing.
I'm not getting into this debate. Great Britain and England are not the same thing.
I don't believe you, but that's for an after show.
We'll talk about it.
All right.
We'll talk about it in the after. But yeah. So okay, so now we're gonna start shifting into news stuff.
First personal news.
Oh great, sorry. First personal news. School started.
If you can't hear, I actually don't know if you can hear. You can't. That's good. I have a new keyboard. It's really good. I like it. It's the Keychron. It's the Keychron.
That's it.
But it's the version 2. I don't think they make any other keyboards aside from this one and the V1. But it's really nice. It's a 95% keyboard, which means it has everything but insert and print screen and scroll lock and pause break. So it's got a number pad, because if a keyboard doesn't have a number pad, it shouldn't exist.
True.
And I went with Gateron Blue switches. This is my first mechanical keyboard, actually.
It's super nice.
I came from a classic, like, Dell standard issue membrane It's not the thin ones because those ones are garbage. It was the nice thick keycaps, but now I have a nice proper keyboard,
And it lights
and I'm
up.
very happy with it.
And it lights up.
It does light up. I
That's
was
always the
going.
fun part.
It's only like $70 for the base model, which is really good, and I was going to get it, but if I decided to splurge. But the base model is just white backlight, and that's it. For I think $10 more, you get RGB backlit, and then for $10 on top of that,
RGB.
it stacks into RGB backlight and an aluminum frame. And I was mostly going for the aluminum frame because, heck yeah. And then I believe there's an extra $10 you can add on top of any configuration, which gives you replaceable key switches.
Ooh.
But I am not that into mechanical keyboards, so I didn't bother. But I love this. It's USB-C wired. It's got Mac and Windows mode. It's also got Bluetooth wireless for up to 3 devices. And I love it. And it has a nice color scheme. And this specific lighting effect is really nice. And I like it. And I highly recommend it. This has been Bean's Keyboard Reviews.
And now we shift on over to Ethan's keyboard reviews.
See you all two weeks from now. Goodbye.
All right, that's the empire. Bye, good night. I'm not rolling in credit because I'm too lazy. Yeah. So I actually got an amazing deal from someone. I got 3 used gaming keyboards. One was HyperX, one was Alienware, and the third was what the green gaming icon, Razer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and so I got all 3 for a pretty good price. Each one alone would probably sell for about $150, and I got all 3 combined for $130. Granted, used, you had to go through and you had to clean it, but something I love about all 3 is you have the ability to program and code your own like lighting effects. So this here is my default one. You can see like it has waves and everything. And so you can combine it, or like you have a program that you can download, and you can program it however you want. You can also have it do specific styles depending on what programs are open. So for example, if I'm sitting here playing like Valorant,
you can even have it like sync up with your game.
Yes. So it's super cool and it's super neat. And I really do love it. And I'm trying to put Jolteon back here because he fell out. But for those who like have proper desktop setups at home, I seriously push for a mechanical keyboard. It just feels so good.
I will say, when I moved to this one, my life wasn't immediately changed forever.
Mine was.
But in fact, the lack of print screen button annoyed me because that's what I had my screenshot utility set up to key mapped to. So I was like, all right, what am I gonna do now? And then I went to copy text out of a terminal because I use Linux, by the way. Not Arch, by the way, except on one computer. Anyway. And to copy text out of a terminal on Linux, by default, it's middle click. No, sorry. It's control insert, and then middle click is paste. It's a bit weird. It makes some sense. Don't worry about it if you're not already familiar with it. There's no more insert key, so I don't know. I still don't know how to copy text out of a terminal. I'm not worrying about it right now. I'll just take a screenshot, which I remapped to the Windows screenshot of Windows Shift S, by the way. So at first I was kind of annoyed by that, and then I was like, it feels good, but it is louder than I wanted, and it doesn't feel like that much different. And then I went back to just comparing like side by side with the old keyboard. I was like, oh god, the old one feels so mushy now.
Yeah, you cannot ever go back.
Yes. So the more I've typed on it, I only got this a week or two weeks ago, I think. But it feels very nice. And like I say, the base model of this one specifically, the only complaint I have about it, I will say, is aside from those 4 keys missing, which is fine, is it is rather thick, which can be bad for the ergonomics for your wristices. So have a wrist rest. I do. I have for years because I worry about getting carpal tunnel syndrome.
I was
one
going to
of
say
these
cardiac
days.
arrest, and that's not the right word.
Not quite. No, I don't have quite enough McDonald's to worry about that. But aside from it being thick, I highly recommend this. And the base model, like I say, with white backlight, which is fine for me, comes with the wired, comes with the Bluetooth, is just like $70 plus shipping, which is super affordable. And you can choose from Gateron blues, reds, or browns. And for a super brief overview for those who don't know mechanical keyboards, which is a lot of people, most people, me 3 weeks ago. Oh no, I changed my lighting effect. Blue is so they're the feels for mechanical key switches is color coded. I believe it was originally created by Cherry, the brand that makes Cherry MX, reds, blues, browns, etc. Originally coined it, but it's become more or less a standard, not a standard so much as a guideline of, okay, it'll feel like this. It'll have that sort of profile. Blue is clicky, which means it's loud and clicky.
Wow.
Feels really nice. I like it, obviously. The red is linear, so that means it doesn't really have any it doesn't have any feedback of any sort until you bottom it out. If I understand correctly, I haven't actually used linear switches. And brown is tactile, which is weird. It kind of means you push it down partway and you feel a difference in the resistance, and at that point it actuates, which means it actually sends that key. So before you press all the way down, it actuates and sends a key press. So if you're typing on tactile keyboards, you usually won't actually bottom out the keys. You'll just kind of half press them until the resistance changes, but that takes some getting used to. I tried it on my brother's keyboard. He has some tactile switches, and I wasn't a huge fan, but browns are generally like the go-to recommendation for newbies. That's the default recommendation. If you don't know anything about the person, nerds will usually suggest go for browns, go for tactile. Those are good. So yes, I got the loudiest and the clickiest. I stand by that.
Loudiest and Quickiest is going to be the title of this episode whenever I upload it to YouTube. Perfect. Loudiest and Quickiest. We're going to take a quick pause break just because I got to take care of something real quickly, but we will be back very shortly. Hey Ben, we're back.
Oh, okay. I
We're-
didn't know that.
We're-
Hi.
We
welcome.
we are back. I was having issues with my camera, and then it went from bad to worse. So
He broke it.
I broke
I
it.
didn't do it.
I think Ben did it.
All right. After that lovely intermission, it's finally 40 minutes in tech news time. Woohoo! So, I will lead off with a story from The Verge.
Can I say something first?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna be eating a little bit, and Abby made this food, and it's really good. It's chicken and rice. All right, continue.
Okay. Story number 1. Life360 is getting out of the business of selling precise user location data. So if you've never used Life360, my family has used it before and then gave up. But it is it is a service for tracking iPhone users. Listen here. If you're in the Apple ecosystem, it's Find My Friends. If you're not in the Apple ecosystem, it's still Find My Friends, but it's third party and you can get it on Android and cross things. It also has some features where I think it'll do like crash detection or stuff like that. But it's a means of tracking, of knowing the location of your friends and family and making sure they're safe, or stalking them and making sure they're not sneaking out to see their boyfriend in the middle of the night, and stuff like that. So, according to The Verge, Life360, a safety and tracking service that helps its users keep tabs on the whereabouts of family and friends, is scaling back its user data sales business to just 2 partners, Allstate AirTag and Placer.ai. This news comes after the company announced a deal to acquire the item tracker Tile, so this is now the parent company for Tile, which inspired the Apple AirTags. It's the same thing, just honestly not quite as good. I hear AirTags are really good. But yeah, so they now own Tile, but they are saying now that they're scaling back their data acquisition and selling to just those 2 sources. So one is Allstate AirTag, which, as I understand from the article, is a means of, as I mentioned, crash detection. So that's, as I understand, Allstate, the American insurance company. So they can send data to Allstate for, like I say, crash detection purposes, and who knows what else. There's no telling. As far as I know, they are pretty much free to do with that data what they want. And Placer.ai, which is some sort of AI neural engine, as I understand, that is useful for analytics and whatnot. So before this change, Life360 had, quote, dozens, or up to dozens, something like that, the word dozens was mentioned, of partners that it would sell precise location data to. Oh no, I lost my article. Give me a second.
So before this third-party app that anyone could download on their phone, and I assume create an account, their location data was being sold to people, like companies on the market.
Yes, there are specific partners. It's not just to anyone and everyone. It's not a bidding. It's not an auction. But there were approximately dozens of partners that they did work with to sell precise user location data. I just found the quote I wanted, and then you interrupted me.
I'm sorry.
According to the markup, Life360 was one of the multi-billion-dollar location data industries' largest raw data sources. Now it says it'll instead sell aggregated user data to one location data firm, Placer.ai. So, as mentioned, it'll only use aggregated analytics. That says it will help retail businesses understand customers better. So for stuff like that, it's more like X people walked by the store rather than this person was here. And I should also clarify, at least this doesn't say that it is personally identifiable information. So it might have been selling precise user location data, but it wasn't selling who that was. Just that somebody, one of our users, is exactly here throughout the day.
So it would say something, instead of it saying like John Smith was at the Nike store at 3:30 in the morning, it instead would say user J_Smith. Was that the Nike store at 3:30 in the morning?
I don't know if it would have any specific information. It was just
A user. Okay.
I think that's my assumption. I don't have anything directly to back it up, except for the hope that that would be unacceptable.
Yeah.
So in a statement from Life360, Life360 recognizes that aggregated data analytics, for example, 150 people drove by their supermarket, is the wave of the future, and that business will increasingly place a premium on data insights that do not rely on device level or other individual user level identifiers. As a result, we believe this partnership will enable us to spend less time navigating the rapidly evolving regulatory and platform environment while simultaneously reducing business risk. Now, I mentioned towards the beginning that they recently acquired Tile, the AirTags competitor, but they did mention that data tracking location for tiles, it will never be sold. The other thing is that the sending data to Placer.ai, which again, as I understand, is a neural net for actually making sense of the data, that is optional. However, it is opt out, which means you are automatically, unless you do anything, you are allowing them to send information to what was the name?
Placer or Allstate?
Placer. Then you are by default allowing Placer.ai and access to that data, but there is a setting to turn that off. So I think this is a bit of an interesting direction for tech, for privacy and whatnot, especially hearing that quote of that this is one of the primary sources for raw data for location, for specific location analytics and whatnot. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
So, for first and foremost, me and my family, we personally never used anything like that. My stepdad might. I actually don't entirely know. But me and my mom and my sister, we never used it. Part of that is, my sister was out of the house before it became a really big thing. And by the time it started to become a big thing, I was, getting older enough that it wasn't really, my mom didn't really have that thought. I'm kind of against letting someone know exactly where I am at all times.
You have it disabled in Snapchat?
Sure you do. I have it enabled only for specific people.
I don't allow Snapchat access to my location.
I'd
kind of like to share with specific people, but I don't want Snapchat to have it. I mean, they have it anyway because they have like my connection info.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, I can my thing is I'm okay with certain companies if it's on my desktop, because they're gonna get it through my IP no matter what, or they can. But I can understand Life360 using something like that. Now
it's a useful service.
It is. I will say it is a useful service. If something happened to say Abby, and I didn't know where she was, but she's sharing her location with me, then I can know approximately where she is. But I think it's better for it to be there was a person here recently, instead of it being, first name, middle name, last name with social security number and credit card information was at this exact location at this exact same time.
Blood type and first pet name.
Exactly. I think that I'm against something like that. I'm a firm believer that privacy is important. It's good for people to have.
Privacy is a right.
Exactly. Now, at the same time, I think there are some people that complain about not having privacy when they were offered it, they ignored it. I know that gets into different.
Can be a whole thing.
I know that can be a whole thing. I'm just gonna try to sum it up as short as I can, and that is, whenever you use a computer, you are agreeing to those terms that people are gonna know. such
I
as
mean, that could be a whole discussion of how much are people required to use computers and technology and services that they don't necessarily agree with just to participate in society.
yeah.
And is that okay? But I don't want to go that deep right now. They're that broad right now more.
The one thing I was going to kind of talk about, like privacy, is something that my phone has started doing recently, and I'm very glad they did, is and the I nearly just accidentally doxed you. I'm sorry. Because I was going to show something and I had a message from you on my phone.
Oh boy.
So, like for example, I'm using Snapchat right now, and it says a little top right there. You can see there's a little green dot, and it has a little camera icon, and it says, "Hey, there's an app using your camera," or "Hey, there's an app using your microphone or your location data." And webcams are starting to do it. Like, I'm currently looking at my Logitech webcam right now. It only lights up if it's in use. Older webcams, as far as I know, didn't. That wasn't a mainstream thing. And I love that they're starting to do that.
My webcam is great. It has because Technology Connections on YouTube has an excellent video about this, of how a lot of those are super easy to hack because it's a software switch, because the light only comes on when it's in use,
Yeah.
rather than being on when it's powered, which is a lot harder to spoof.
Yeah.
So what my webcam has is a power light and an in-use light.
Ooh.
Very cool. And it comes with a built-in privacy cover. See?
Oh, where did he go? All right, we lost Ben. We're just getting in the podcast there. Oh, that frame rate though. Oh, that was pain. It dropped down to like.
I'm back.
Dropped down to like 3 frames.
Wonderful. All right.
But at the same time, I was just gonna like wrap up the little webcam part. At the same time, like I'm not gonna come sit right in front of my computer and do something unless I like know the webcam is off. I know there's no applications open that would be using something like that. I'll even like I'll unplug it if someone else is uncomfortable. Like I don't want to do that, but at the same time, if you're not doing that, then I think that's partially on you. Like getting a privacy cover.
I don't know. It shouldn't. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think it should be on the consumer to have to actively and vigilantly protect their own privacy. It is, but I don't think it should be.
I agree it shouldn't be, but if you have that information that it is happening and you do nothing about it, that's kind of my point of view. But that we can drop that there. We can actually go the opposite direction from Earth, Ben. You want to go to space with me?
Before that, I do have a
sorry.
discussion question for this that I wrote down that I think would be interesting to discuss. And make a discussion question. God, I'm an idiot.
Me too.
Is aggregated data just as bad as precise user data, or is it fine? Is it better at the very least?
So, okay. Aggregated means it doesn't directly tell you who. It just says a user, right?
It means it is no longer personally identifiable, and it isn't even about a specific person. It is aggregated. So it's multiple users' data. It is about a group, about a set of people.
I see nothing wrong with that because in my head it'd be the same as like having a security camera up. That security camera say, "Hey, there was a person there." If everyone's a John Doe.
Don't get me started.
But I mean, if everyone is a John Doe or a Jane Doe, then I mean, I see nothing wrong with a new. I was trying to think of something, but I like
Phoenix. That's a really awesome gender neutral name. Sorry.
It's a bird.
Yeah. Jesse.
That's the name of a dog.
And a character from Gilmore Girls.
And a character from that TV show, Jesse and... No, it's just Jesse.
That one's a girl. Anyway.
Anyway, Jesse's a dog. That's a man. But yeah, with everyone being anonymous, I think that is, I am comfortable with that. I am comfortable with it being, they don't know who it was, then it's just tallying, because I like seeing data. I like seeing numbers. I like knowing, hey, this many people frequented at this location. And I don't, I'm going to be honest, if it were me personally, it'd probably be bad if I knew who they were. If I owned a restaurant out in downtown and I got a message every time someone passed and it said, someone passed. I'm like, oh, wow, someone passed. But it said, hey, your mother just passed and she didn't come in. I'd be a bit hurt. I know it's a bad explanation, but I would be okay with that anonymous data on my end. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ethan likes space.
Ethan does like space. Speaking of keeping people away, space. So, you're welcome. So, hey, Ben, ask me about the James Webb Telescope.
Hey, Ethan, ask Ethan about the James Webb Telescope.
Okay, hey, Ben, do you want to hear about the James Webb Telescope? Because I'm going to tell you about it.
Oh, boy, do I.
Oh, boy, howdy. So today is January 30th, correct?
I don't know.
Today's January 30th, the day that we're supposed to record the podcast. Hey, do you want to record the podcast with me soon?
I thought that was tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
I'm free tonight.
Yeah, it's tomorrow at 7 p.m. your time. So the James Webb Telescope,
Okay.
on January 24th, which I believe was the Monday? Yeah, Monday of last week, this week, however you want to define it, ended its journey. It is currently orbiting, it took a month from launch to resting position. It launched December 21st and it stopped January 21st. It is around 1 million miles per Earth. And I had some information wrong whenever I first talked about it. It's always equal to Earth compared to the sun. So if the sun's here in the middle, it's my microphone.
Directly between?
No. I'm using my fingers. So if the sun is the microphone and Earth is my hand and the satellite's here, the Earth always stays between the sun and the satellite. It has its own shadow, or it's in the shadow of Earth. And so I'm sitting here wondering, how does it do that? Well, Ethan from the past, here's how it does it. It is in something, I want to get the word right. It's in something that they call L2, and L is this article does not mention it, Langerine. But every body that orbits something will have 5 L points. One in between the main body and the secondary body. 2 along its orbit, 45-degree angle out. 1 directly behind it, and 1 completely adjacent of the main body. Well, I know it's hard to understand, but in the article does have an image. I seriously push y'all to look at it. The issue is L2, which is where the James Webb ended out. L2 is not a stable orbit. It's a pseudo-stable. Okay. So that means if you sit there in L2, you would gradually go towards Earth. Very slowly at first, but obviously pick it up.
I was curious about that. Would it be drawn in by Earth?
Yeah, it slowly. So what they've done is every 20 days, the telescope will fire its thrusters for 2 to 3 minutes to ensure that it stays in the spot. With that, the propellant will run out in about 20 years. After that, it'll stay in that place much longer than expected because the rocket had such a great trajectory than they expected. So they're going to get more than 20 years worth of photos out of the James Webb Telescope. And even if they really wanted to, they could stop back by, eventually maybe on the way to Mars, and drop off, say, more propellant. And so it's currently sitting there. It's unfurled. It's in the right place. Photos should be coming in within a couple of weeks. I think they said the first photos might be coming in around February 3rd, which is
Soon.
that's between now and the next podcast, Ben.
It is.
We could have photos by the next time we talk about it from the James Webb Telescope. I probably should have explained this first, but the James Webb Telescope is a telescope that is being launched outside of the moon's orbit. It's 1 million miles, miles or kilometers? 1 million miles away from. Smooth. It's 1 million miles away from Earth, and the reason it's out there is there's going to be no interference from Earth or the moon. It's not going to heat it up. It's not going to cause as much blocking. It's out of range of other satellites. So, but the reason they picked L2, which is, like I said, it's behind Earth, is because it's going to be in constant shade, so the sun won't be in the way. And on top of being in L2, that means that it's going to be able to get photos of Earth and things on the other side of the sun easier. There's just one slight issue, and that is it's solar powered. So Ben,
I was just about to say, if it's always in shadow, how most space things are solar powered? So
here's what they did. It's not directly at L2. This is why it's in a pseudo-stable. It's orbiting L2.
is that what that diagram means? Okay.
Yes. So that diagram says it's orbiting around L2, and because the sun is so far away, sometimes it will get some sun. It'll recharge. But yeah, so that's the James Webb Telescope update. That's what's going on. It is happy in its place. It's at L2. If I can find the actual word of what the L stands in L2, I will let it know.
That's layer 2. That's a data link.
No, it's not. But if you give me,
sure?
It's literally in the title, Lagrange point. Lagrange.
Wow.
So, but now, yeah, it's gonna be. Oh, also, for
Not in the title.
it's not in the title. It's in the name of the link. But so what I was gonna say is, hey, it's gonna be able to get a photo of what the universe looked like briefly after the Big Bang.
How's that?
So, Ben, I don't know if you know this, but light travels. Right?
Does it?
Light, yeah. So light travels.
Oh,
Light does not instantly happen. There's some technicality there with relativity and everything. But what happens is,
What is instantly?
an instant light is whenever you turn on the light switch late at night, and you go blind. So, if I look,
Can you turn on light mode on Discord?
seriously, don't ever use light mode. If I look at a star that is 1 light year away, I'm actually seeing the star what it looked like a year ago. If I look at a star that's 100 light years away, I'm looking at what something looked like 100 years ago. So, for example, some nebulas that we're seeing that are, hundreds of thousands of years old, the star is, and the nebula itself is gone. If we teleported right now to where it is, it's gone. But because that light is still traveling to us and just now hitting our eyes, we're seeing it 450,000 years ago. So, the James Webb, with its unobstructed view, is going to have a look at galaxies that are so far away, it's just now, the light is just now reaching us, quote unquote, that it would look like what it did towards the beginning of the universe, towards the Big Bang just happened, just being a million years or so. Just because...
So will they be able to, not in real time, but will they be able to watch galaxies come into existence?
In real time, yes. But it's not going to be like, oh, look, there's one. Oh, look, there's one. It's
X million years ago.
yes. Like, I mean, if a galaxy takes millions of years to form, you're still going to have to watch it for millions of years. But if you teleported to that spot right now, the galaxy would already be formed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So it's in real time. It's at 1x speed. It's not. You didn't change the speed slider on
Yes.
YouTube.
So
But it's offset.
I have a great example. Imagine you're watching this podcast live. That's now. That's real time. Imagine. If you rewind.
You know what? You can.
Next
Sunday, every other Sunday.
Not next
at
Sunday.
8 p.m. Eastern.
At 8 p.m.
You can do it.
The next one is a Valentine's Day episode. February 13th.
I'm not ready.
It's okay. I have a date. She's cute. So if you're watching this live, real time, that's right now. And that's say Earth. If you rewind 10 minutes, that's you looking at 10 minutes ago, which would be 10 minutes, quote unquote, away.
10 minutes plus the time it takes the light to reach your eyes from your computer.
Yes, just rewinding, yeah. And so
the processing time of your computer and the display and sorry.
Exactly. So right now, my real time is different from your real time just because of that delay. But then it's also different from that person who's watching 10 minutes ago. And if they just continue watching at a normal time, they're seeing everything 10 minutes prior. So that's what we're looking at. So I explained it as best as I could. I love space, but I am not very good at explaining it. So, but I mean, speaking
of
for
discussion questions, we have Ethan likes space.
Ethan does like space.
Not a question, but it's just a fact.
It's a statement.
And does space like Ethan? Moving on.
Good discussions. We actually have that written down, by the way.
Correct.
Speaking of space.
So, stalkers can track you through space and time with AirTags.
I was going to ask, what are AirTags? And then I saw it was one of the articles. So I'm bringing it up now. I know it's related to Apple devices, but what is AirTag?
Unacceptable, Ethan. This is a new tech news show, and you don't know what an Apple AirTag is?
I don't own any Apple devices. I also don't...
I have pink lady apples in my fridge. That's about it.
I have apple juice downstairs.
That counts. All right. AirTags are... Actually, do you know how Apple's Find My network works? It's actually really cool.
I don't. Would you like? Do you need a whiteboard? I'm gonna lean back while you talk about it.
No. So no, it's not like actual networking.
Oh darn.
So, to my knowledge, layman's perspective,
layman's terms,
Apple's Find My network is really cool. So how it works is if all devices that are Find My enabled, so that's every
iDevice.
Pretty much.
These
especially
days.
every Apple mobile device. I don't know about Apple Watches, actually.
Apple Watches do have a Find My device.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
The newer ones do for sure. I don't know about older ones, but the newer ones do.
The things like Apple Watches or AirTags that can't necessarily connect directly to Apple servers and say, hey, I'm right here. It actually uses some sort of low-frequency radio or similar. I'm not sure the specifications. So any Apple devices that can connect to those servers, iPhones with a service plan, for example, can communicate and see the distance of like approximately where that device is, and then it'll upload it to Apple servers and let them know, hey, this thing is right here. Even if that device doesn't own it, it can say, pew, it's right there. Pew, it's right there. Go tell Apple. Something like that. So it's an entire network of devices that know where they are and can find out where other things are.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be pretty easy to get into.
I honestly have no idea. I also could be completely wrong about how that works, but that was my understanding from what I learned several months ago. Be worth brushing up on that, actually, and I can correct it next time if I'm wrong. So AirTags are just little things with a little Find My chip. So they're dumb, but something else can go pew and
right
figure
there.
out, hey, it's there, officer.
So it's any device.
Any Apple device.
Oh, I thought it was something I could put in any device.
AirTags?
That's the way you or that's how I got it from the phrasing. Yeah, the
The
AirTags.
AirTags
Yes.
specifically?
Yes.
Okay, they're a little. If you click on the article, you see a picture of it. It's a little like keychain sort of thing. It doesn't come with a keychain, but it's that size.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, it's like an not an NFT. The
Little nugget. NFC.
NFC. Thank you. NFT are useless.
NFC is great.
NFCs are allowed here. NFTs are not.
This little quartery type thing that you can put in your purse, put in your wallet. I guess you could.
I
Put
could
on your
glue it onto my
keychain, put it in your
keys.
bag.
Put it on your
swallow
fiance.
it, whatever. You can use it to track things.
Yeah.
Don't swallow it. That was
Please
a joke.
don't.
Don't swallow.
Also, don't put it on a person. Don't just like stick it to a person.
Yeah, that's what they're doing though. That's the problem.
But like a stalker. Oh, the stalker's like putting it in their pocket or their backpack or something.
In their
I
bag or
was
something
making
like
a joke. Oh, that's terrible.
Yes. Apple has released the news article. Apple has released an updated safety guide amid ongoing concerns over the company's AirTag devices. The company quietly released a safety portal on Monday. The personal user safety guide offers advice on how people can make themselves and their data safe. Designed to locate lost items using the Find My network. The BBC and other outlets have previously found evidence that AirTags have been misused to track people. There is an article linked here, Apple AirTags, a perfect tool for stalking, on the BBC News website. Guide offers step-by-step instructions on how users can protect themselves. It highlights what to do if you hear or find, because it can make a sound, because help find things. Find an AirTag that doesn't belong to you. The guide shows Android users how they can download an app that will help alert users to rogue AirTags. Ooh, that's interesting. I missed that line the first time I read this. But yeah, there's been evidence, such as last week the BBC reported that several women had been notified that AirTags were tracking them without their knowledge. One woman said she found an AirTag taped to the inside of her bag. Director of cybersecurity at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, oh, I love them, the FF, told the BBC, that's not a joke, one of the great things they do is completely tangential, is Let's Encrypt, which offers free SSL certificates, automated SSL certificates. So if you're hosting a website, don't give DigiCert your money. They don't need it. Just use Let's Encrypt. It's free. It's amazing. Look it up. Anyway, Director of Cybersecurity at the EFF told the BBC, if you create an item which is useful for tracking stolen items, then you have also created a perfect tool for stalking.
Yeah.
So, yes.
It sounds like a tracking device from Star Wars, and I know that sounds like a stupid comparison, but like that's what it is.
More or less.
I mean,
it's also worth noting. Sorry, I got a message for work. Worth noting that similar tracking products to AirTags, like Tile, previously mentioned on this show, do not come with safeguards against tracking people. Although Tile told the BBC that they were working on an update. The guide that Apple released shows how to remove someone's access to location data previously shared with them, how to automatically let a friend know when you've arrived home safely, and how to engage an emergency SOS. So yeah, what?
I mean,
it. How could this be prevented?
So,
can this be prevented?
Okay.
Because it's an excellent service tool that a lot of people use and find great value in, and some of those people happen to be creeps.
I'm gonna be honest with you here, Ben. I'm pretty clumsy sometimes. I lose stuff a lot. Mm-hmm. I came into the house one day, and I lost my keys. And I scrambled around, couldn't find them, and I'll find them in the morning. And I was going to leave. I opened the door, and they're in the door. I have lost keys that way. And so I think in concept, it's a great idea. But yeah, the issue is it's so easy to exploit and abuse. I mean, like, for example, a student in college, their backpack is going to be a mess. You can just open it up, drop it in. But that's the thing, though, is in my head and in my heart, that's what us IT people are for. We're the ones who are supposed to fix issues and exploits. Now, does that fix mean get rid of it? Sometimes. I think it boils down to is, do the pros outweigh the cons? Thinking about it in an IT sense, it's hard to tell the difference between my bag was stolen, I need to find it, and I'm tracking this person. I'm not sure how they could get around that. If they find a way, go for it. If they find a way to reduce that, I say go for it. Should they get rid of it completely? I'm going to say no.
I mean, it looks like they do. I mean, as the article mentioned, several women were notified. I imagine. Let me double check. Let me read the quote again, just to be sure. That it was saying that the AirTag app or whatever is the one that alerted them about it. So I think it does already have at least some mechanism to try and do that.
Yeah.
Take over real quick.
So you said it, if I remember from what you think you explained, is it sends to the Apple iServer, and the iServer will then ping other devices, right?
That is my understanding. The more we talk about it, the less confident I am.
I mean, if that's the case, like, tell me if I'm wrong or not here. If an Apple device picks up that an Apple tag has been close to them for a certain amount of time that seems suspicious, they can notify the user, right?
That's sort of what I was thinking of. If you haven't registered it to your account, but this AirTag is still following your iPhone, for example,
Yeah.
then that could be a red flag.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the case, but it's a red flag.
I mean, that could be a double-edged sword, where if, I'm walking along and I steal Abby's purse and I have an iPhone and she has an Apple tag in her purse and I start running away, that would send the same signal. It would say, hey, there's a tag near you that isn't yours.
So it would alert the robber.
It would alert the robber, but then you can also use that to track the purse, I think it's a cool concept. I think it'd be useful.
So, okay. So if you're being tracked with it, then maliciously by someone else, then you need to be able to cut off their access to that information, to that data stream.
Yeah.
But if you're the threat actor who stole something, then you shouldn't be able to cut off that access.
Yeah. It's weird and it's difficult to work with, but like I said, it's kind of like IT people's job to figure out exploits and how to get around them. I do want to bring up another issue, though. I feel like it's then kind of tagging into the issue with privacy again. Granted, the people have purchased these devices.
I disagree, because say I'm a pretty young thing, like I am,
right?
And someone comes up and drops an AirTag in my backpack when I'm at a cafe doing homework, and then I head out. That I have done nothing wrong. I have in no way sacrificed my own privacy by any fault of my own. That is not my fault for giving up privacy. That is entirely the fault of the threat actor, of the stalker.
I mean, I was more so saying, like, you have it on your keys and you are somewhere. That is still sending out your location, right?
I believe so, yeah.
But it's
there's no way to only activate it when it's lost.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
It's always active, as far as I know. It's a dumb device. It relies on everything else, too.
Okay.
I mean, it does have a battery. It does have to do something, but I don't know what specifically.
Probably just sending out a signal to nearby devices.
More or less.
So, yeah. I don't think it should be completely canceled. I don't think
that was one of my questions, though.
Yeah.
This is an incredibly serious problem. Should should they stop supporting and selling these?
I think
It sounds radical, but like this is not okay.
I think for now they should either stop or reduce the amount that they sell until they can figure out a better, more reliable way. But at the same time, they don't know how to do that without properly testing it, and there's nothing a better test than the real time. Granted, the real time is bad. You know, someone stalking someone else is messed up, trashy, rude, and there's a cat on my desk. And so it's just like,
Well, I disagree that the best way to test it is in real thing, because you can develop a solution and then deploy it in the real world, but you should be confident in that solution before you deploy it.
I
If
agree
somebody
with that
finds a way
too.
to circumvent it, then that's just a common battle back and forth between threat actors and tech people in the first place.
And that's been
just
going on.
inherent.
So
Cybersecurity is back and forth battle.
yeah, it seriously is. I mean, it seems like every time something happens, the other team is already one up. So that's why we have people like white hat hackers. For those who don't know, white hat hackers are people that sign an agreement, say I will not hack for malicious intent. What they do is they find a company. If they are able to hack into their system, they don't do anything. They don't steal information. They don't download information. What they do is they go to the company and say, hey, here's how I got into your system. I can help you fix it.
That's a gray hat hacker. White hat is hired by the company to basically audit.
I did not know that difference. I was just taught there's black and white.
White hat is fully above the table. Gray hat is more dubious of, yes, you are breaking the terms of service, if not the law, to break into the system, but you're not doing anything malicious. You will then go and basically sell that information to the company, which is a little less ethical of, hey, I can break your system.
Yeah.
Give me money and I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
Which is where the gray comes from. And as you might have guessed, a black hat hacker is just a baddie.
Yep. Someone who hacks in, steals information, and then sells it to people or uses it for their own intent, such as scam calls. That was a plot of Futurama. It was an entire Futurama movie.
Yeah, I can't think of a good solution to this, and I seriously think it should be considered to stop it. I know that's.
I know you're
radical.
talking about selling them, like stop selling them, but it sounds like just stop stalking. Just stop it.
Well, yes.
That too, right? But like, real chat. If you're watching this and you're stalking someone, just stop it. It's messed up. It's illegal. People deserve their privacy. Just stop it. And for those people that aren't stalking anyone, stay on top of your cybersecurity.
Gold star.
Gold. Yeah, you. But like seriously, stay on top of your your cybersecurity. Not just cyber, just regular security. I've mentioned before, I work with a security company. We install cameras. We install security systems. And one of the biggest things is even just having the security system or the cameras can be a deterrent. The same thing can apply to cybersecurity. But on top of that, if something starts to happen, go through and change your password. Be sure you have things like two-factor authentication enabled somehow, somewhere.
Two-factor authentication is great.
It seriously is.
The other thing, yes, deterrents are good, but one common one is security through obscurity. Doesn't work. Like if you're saying, oh, this will make it harder for them to find. No, it won't.
Yeah.
It might a little bit, but like...
if they're going to go for it.
In depth.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but in real life, if you have a security system, try to use it, even if you're like, no, I always accidentally set it.
Ring. Screw Ring. They're awful. I hate them. They're Amazon, which is why they're awful and I hate them. Don't use Ring.
We install Ring doorbells at our job.
If you can avoid it, don't use any video camera doorbell service that makes you pay a monthly fee to use the frickin' doorbell.
That irritates me so much.
That is unacceptable. I cannot believe people pay for that.
The system we use is called Elon, and it goes through Nortec. And apparently Nortec might be bought out by someone else, or they already have been. But our system, how it works, I don't know if I should explain this. Because the security.
Are you sure? Double check.
I'm talking specifically about the security system. So what it is everything is hardwired. Nothing is wireless. And that includes the doorbell. And the doorbell is recording along with all the cameras. Give me 1 second. Hey! Off. No, ma'am.
That is already more secure. Wireless is convenient, and because pretty much anything that's convenient is horrible from a security perspective.
I agree with that. But yeah, so it's all wired, and then it all wires directly into the recorder, and the recorder's recording 24/7. We also have a system we program in that detects motion events and highlights those, saying, "Hey, there's a motion event at 2 a.m. last night." We do have some people that use Ring. I want to say I don't like Ring. The fact that you have to pay for it, it's a hassle to install. It's wireless. Fun fact, it doesn't actually save anything. You have to have an SD card if it saves. But it's still better than nothing. Like,
I actually don't know much about it, but have you worked with any Night Owl security systems?
we have talked about it, but we haven't worked with them.
Okay, we have a Night Owl security system, so it's like completely homegrown, but it's all wired back to a local DVR that you can allow internet access. We do allow that, so we can connect it to it. A pretty terrible app, honestly, but
Yeah.
it allows you to connect and view remote feeds and has motion events and that sort of stuff. It is, if you have the time and money, go to a professional, go to someone who can set up a security system for you. But like Night Owl is it's a fine solution.
Yeah.
It takes a bit more work, but it's probably cheaper. I honestly don't know.
I mean,
And all your data is yours. Complete tangent, unless you have anything to say.
I mean, I was just gonna say security, like, have them, use them. We've talked to quite a few people who say, "Oh, like we installed a security system." Like, yeah, do you use it? No, we don't ever use it. And then we'll hear,
as long as it's running.
No, they don't even use it.
Oh, it's not like turned on and running?
Like, if it's turned on, that doesn't mean it's used. It has to be armed for it to be used. That's with all security systems. I'm not talking cameras. I'm talking security system. Security systems such as door contacts, motion sensors, glass breaks, all those things. The system has to be armed for those to go off. And we'll talk to people who don't have cameras and they have a security system, but they don't ever use it. And we'll ask them, we'll be there replacing some batteries or something. Do you use the system? They're like, we've turned it on like once while on vacation, but usually not. No. And then a couple weeks later, we've talked to them and they were broken in. And that's why they like ask for a camera system or something. And
Hold on. Now I'm getting suspicious. So is somebody on your team doing the breaking?
I wouldn't ever do that, but I have heavily thought about, like, we're a security team. We know the ins and outs of all these systems. We know how to get around it. And then I'm sitting there thinking, this is like a heist movie.
How often does this happen that you ask a customer, they're like, "Oh no, we're not using it," and then the next week someone breaks in? That's a red flag.
It's happened once that I started working there. There's been a couple of times that they were broken into, and we ask, "Have they been using it?" And they say no.
Okay.
But usually no. We usually don't know. But I will say the couple of times that people have, I have not worked with them whenever they like that this has happened, but whenever they get broken into, apparently one of the first people they interview is the security company.
Okay.
Just to be like, did you guys do it? No. Okay, just making sure.
All right, I'll believe you this time.
Well, usually like security companies have pretty good alibis.
Yeah.
Going either way. They could be like, yeah, you guys know the exact in and outs. You could get in. But our catch is the only code we know for the system is the installer code. And the installer code cannot disarm any of the systems.
And then you have the customer enter their own.
Exactly. And so
out of curiosity, do you specifically like have them do it, or just tell them? Do you tell them to do it, or do you make them do it?
We make them do it.
Okay.
Like we'll give
I
them a
imagine you
rundown.
have.
We kind of have to, but we'll give them a rundown of how the system works because we have really nice panels. They're like touchscreen. They're OLED. They're super nice touchscreen
Yeah, they
panels.
track where you are. They listen to you.
They take photos anytime someone puts the code in wrong. Like actually,
Oh, okay. That's
like
cool.
and so or if the alarm goes off, it takes a photo. Or if someone arms the system, it
Here's
takes a
the really
photo.
cool thing. When I worked at a place that sold lottery. That's all I'll say. Where the place sold lottery tickets, and we have a lottery ticket vending machine for scratch offs. Taking out the money of the cash box. One of the days I was opening it, and I flip it down, and I open it, and then I notice there's like a tiny little camera, like the size of a screw, at the corner of it. So anyone who flips it down, they could see
They
it.
see it. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like if it or when or if it gets triggered to record. I'm sure it does, but like it's a tiny little
Yeah.
camera that I wouldn't have noticed. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's why some people go through and disable the cameras on the system, and I can understand because like they'll have a system in their bedroom, and I wouldn't want a camera in my bedroom. But like if it's right by the garage door, I would have it. I would have it enabled. Like if someone disarms the system or arms the system, it takes a photo. If someone puts in a wrong code, it takes a photo. Or if the alarm goes off, it takes a photo. And I think that's great because it's more to catch the bad guy. But my point is, use your alarm system, people. If you have one installed, use it. If you don't, find someone who can install it, or even you can install one yourself. They're usually pretty easy. I don't know if I would say cheap, but some of them can be pretty cheap. Just remember though, sometimes the cheaper you get, the worse it can be. But one of our biggest things we do tell people this is that just having it can be a deterrent. So,
Absolutely.
but I mean, seriously, real life breaches can be just as bad as data breaches.
Speaking of data breaches,
Data breaches.
I picked up on that. Data breaches in 2021 set a new record with 5.9 billion accounts
Yeah.
affected by digital thieves, according to a new report by VPN provider Atlas VPN, which compiled the statistics from a number of publicly available sources.
So wait, a new record low or high?
Take a guess.
I celebrated because I thought it was a new record low, and then you said the number. So I'm gonna guess record high.
Record high.
That is not
By-
good.
By quarter 3 of 2021, we had already beaten the 2022 or 2020 record.
Jeez.
Or, I don't know if it was a record in 2020. I'll clarify. Probably because pandemic and everything's virtual, so everything goes up. But in June, records of so here's just a list of some of the large-scale data breaches. In June, records of 700 million LinkedIn users were offered for sale on the Hacker Underground. The leaked data included user email addresses, full names, phone numbers, physical addresses, geolocation records, genders, personal and professional experience, and more.
LinkedIn wants
But
to
it's
connect.
okay. LinkedIn notes that the data wasn't acquired from an actual breach of its systems, but from data scraping of its internet-facing API. They don't even need to hack. They need to write a frickin' Python script.
You're kidding me, right?
I'm assuming it's Python. It might not have been. But
I-
it's the
I-
same thing. It's a web scraper. I made one of those for work one time.
Like, this is we like I think what we need is we just need like a revolution in cybersecurity where the systems. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me continue through this list, and then we can get to the discussion. In April, information from 533 million users in 106 different countries was scraped from Facebook, along and published on a hacking forum. Again, this is saying scraped from, so I'm assuming that's not even like a hack. It's just going through your public profile and yoink.
You mean
Leaked
Meta?
information. No, it was from Facebook by Meta. The leaked information included phone numbers, full names, locations, email addresses, and users' biographical information. Facebook claims the data leak is a result of an old vulnerability that was patched in 2019.
Sure.
So either that means it wasn't actually patched in 2019, or they'd held on to that data and then just released it, which is very much possible.
Both things are equally possible. I remember some big hacker
Alternatively,
groups did this.
it could be something that a vulnerability was exploited in 2019, but then laid dormant. Fun fact, Log4j vulnerability stuff, it's not going away. It's a lot of things have been patched, but if something happened before it was patched, something could still be sitting there lying dormant.
Yeah. I mean,
Remain vigilant.
yeah. Anytime you're on the internet, remain vigilant.
In January, data on 220 million Brazilians was discovered on a dark web forum. The data cache contained names, unique tax identifiers, facial images, addresses, phone numbers, email, credit score, salary, and other information.
How many is a Brazilian?
What?
You said 220 Brazilian.
I hate you. You're fired. I can host the show myself. You're fired.
Can you show me the door, please?
There.
Thank you.
Can't see it, but it's there.
I trust you.
Also in January, a cloud misconfiguration, which is a common way data is exposed on the internet, by Chinese social media agency SocialArcs, resulted in a data leak of 400 gigabytes of personal data on about 214 million Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn users. The data included names, country, residence, contact information, the position of work, subscriber data, and profile links. Yeah, so that's the list of high-profile things, but another thing to mention, calculated in 2020, there were 1,001 breaches and 155.8 million exposed records, an average of about 155,000 records per breach. In 2021, there were 1,291 breaches, that's 290 more, affecting 281.5 million records, that's 130 million more.
There's the math.
That comes to about 218,000 records per breach, an increase of more than 70%. So not only are breaches becoming more frequent, they are becoming more effective. A number of factors have been contributing to that increase. The ever-increasing sophistication of threat actors, a great number of connected IoT devices. If you say IoT in the networking world, you get shanked. And the protracted shortage of skilled security talent all play a role in increased breach activity. Data also shows that the surge in remote and hybrid work and other factors resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic have fueled the rise of cybercrime by 600% or more. That was a lot of talking.
I'm curious about one number here that I don't think they have mentioned.
And what's that?
How many of these accounts that have been breached were accounts that were breached before?
That would be interesting.
I know those are still huge numbers, but if an account has been hacked before, is it more likely or less likely to get hacked again? Do you
Definitely more.
Definitely more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If nothing else, because accounts that people don't use anymore. Or accounts of people that are dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Where if they're not changing the password.
Yeah, I mean, if an account is hacked and then they're just like, okay, that account's gone, just, leave it. And then you go through and you're like, hey, this account has been hacked. I'm going to hack it again. And you're hacking the hacker, I do want to touch on something they didn't even mention here is Discord. You and I use Discord quite a bit.
Are you talking about the scams that people fall for?
Yes, they've grown.
I had a friend of mine fall for it.
I'm an admin in a couple big Discords with, like thousands of people. 4,000 people is a Discord I'm an admin in, and that's more than some towns nearby. Where we had to post an announcement, hey, Discord scams are on the rise again. Be careful, don't fall for these sorts of things. In Discords I've been in, I'm in a lot of like group Discords that are like, for YouTubers or games that are big, like 200,000, 300,000 users. I think in the past week, 4 of them that I've been in have been hacked in some way. And the biggest one is the Pokemon Go Discord. For those who don't know, Pokemon Go is a famous mobile game that you can walk around, catch Pokemon. It's supposed to also support and endorse healthy lifestyle, such as going out.
Something important to know, if I may cut you off, is that I'd like to see the statistics, but I'm confident saying the vast majority of cybersecurity breaches are not by elite hackers, it's through social engineering.
Yes.
And that's a fancy word for people who betray your trust. People who pretend to be there's if you're not already familiar with the concept of social engineering, specifically in context of cybersecurity, do your research. It's not like hard to understand, but it's something you should understand and to be on the lookout for. Like for example, a common one is tailgating. That's where somebody leaves their computer unlocked and someone else comes up behind them and does things.
Yeah.
On their account, on their, say, privileged account. And a similar thing for physical security is tailgating into buildings. Say, oh, I key card in, and then someone coming up behind me like, oh, I'll hold the door for you, and they don't have to swipe their badge because I'm holding the door open for them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
If you're going into a secure building.
Be the asshole.
Yes.
Be the person who scans your hotel card, scans your privileged access badge to get into your building, and someone's coming up behind you, make them scan.
Yeah.
Unless you literally know who they are.
Yeah, like if Ben and I are working in a company and we're best buds and I see him coming up, like I'm gonna trust Ben. But if it's like some random stranger I've never seen before, close the door. On the flip side, if you're going into like Walmart and you're just a customer, hold the door open.
Yes, for privileged area.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is like with the social engineering.
The guys on the internet said don't hold the door open.
You're sitting there holding the door open for your wife, and you're like, "Oh, it's not to hold the door open. Close door."
Sorry, you gotta open it yourself.
Close the door, and you're sitting there waiting on the other side, and the wife just opened.
Like going into the bedroom. Come on, sorry, no, you gotta open it yourself.
Just close door. I don't know you.
Do you have your keys?
Do you have your keys?
No, they're in the bedroom. Oh, sorry.
That's a shame.
Sorry, I can't let you in.
You're on a date night. You're like, aren't you going to open the door for me in the car? No,
the car.
The guy said not to open the door. Do you have the keys? It's your car.
Sorry, it's a security issue.
But yeah, rewinding to social engineering. The big thing lately is Discord scams have been like, hey, I created this game, can you take a look at it? And they send a link. Rule 1, don't ever click on a random link.
Rule yes.
You're
probably not getting free Discord Premium.
No.
Your Steam account has probably not been hacked, and if it has, I promise someone's not reaching out to you through Discord to tell you about it.
No, it's not the actual Elon Musk trying to get $100 in Steam gift cards.
It was not a problem, but the other day I found myself, I clicked on a link in an email, and then immediately after I was like, I did not look at that. It was a completely legitimate email.
Yeah.
But I caught myself of, I should have checked that. I didn't hover over the link. I didn't see where it was going. And the email itself looked a little
fishy with a PH.
Yes, it looked a little fishy with a PH. It wasn't super professional. Side note, if you run a legitimate business and send legitimate emails, make them look good. Don't make them look scammy.
Sent from my iPhone.
And on a related and subclause, don't put emoji in your email subjects. It's automatic. Like, I don't care if it's legitimate. It's a scam if it has emoji in the email subject.
Hey Ben, can you take a look at this W4 form? Winky face.
Eggplant. Flying money symbol.
But seriously, if you're ever uncertain about a link, ask a
And
friend.
be uncertain about all links.
Be uncertain about all links, and B, if you're extremely uncertain, ask someone. For those people who know me personally, I am 100% willing to yeah, this is sketchy. Don't trust that. I got one on Facebook Messenger recently where someone I haven't talked to in years. That's a key thing is if they haven't talked to you in years and they randomly, hey, look at this link message, or
They probably haven't used their Facebook in 20 years and got hacked because they don't use it.
this guy actually does.
They're dumb enough.
But the message is hey, this video reminded me of you, and link. I did not tap the link.
Club.ca.
The link goes to 366q.short.gy. And so I straight up messaged him back, hey man, this is kind of sketchy. It sounds like your account got hacked. And I went through Facebook Messenger, which I know Facebook Messenger. I've used it a lot. I levied my options. I thought, yeah, there's probably going to be no harm from this. Which, I mean, these days, you never know. But I told him that. And so...
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I have not gotten a reply from him, so I'm assuming, yes, it was a scam.
Another thing, hovering over links is good. It can tell you if something's if something looks off, and look closely at URLs. Often, a lot of scammers will do URLs that look legit, but they're like a letter or two off, or they're flipped, or stuff like that. What I was gonna say is, sometimes the stupid analytic tracking link, so like for promotion emails, that sort of thing, they'll have a link that is to the site, but it'll have a bunch of garbage after it, which is for tracking to see how many people are using the emails, which is useful information for a business.
Yeah.
But that just makes it look so scammy, especially if it goes to a third party. So it's not the domain of the place that you're getting things, that you're getting the email from. It's to like, I can't even think of an example, but it's to some other domain. I hate that.
Yeah. I think that, yes, it's important for the users to learn that sort of stuff, but at the same time, it's on some of the businesses to make sure it seems...
to promote good security practices.
Yes. Like universities teaching their teachers how to not...
Yeah, and on a related note, do not roll your eyes when cybersecurity training comes around for your work or whatnot. That shit's important.
Language, but I understand that stuff is very important. But I just that's our one unfamily friendly word. But I just want to say the college university I used to go to, I was taking a network security class, and it was taught by the IT, like someone high up in the IT, and she would sometimes show us like what the tests look like, and then we could also see the results. And there was one year only one person failed the test, and it was the person who taught networking. So
let's go 1, 2, 3.
Password. I love this university. But seriously though, don't give your password out online. Don't just don't trust.
But yeah, cybersecurity culture is a thing. Is an important thing.
Yes.
Or any organization of any sort. It's not just the individual. It is, like I say, the culture. It is. One of the things we have at work is if you leave your computer unlocked and you walk away.
Do you wallpaper someone?
Yeah, you'll get Hasselhoff. Change the wallpaper to something. And it's funny and harmless, but it is a useful reminder of, okay, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You leave your computer locked when you leave. So little things like that, not reusing passwords, don't send your passwords over Teams.
Don't send your password, period.
If you have shared passwords, because especially for tech places, yes, you're going to have shared passwords throughout a team. Don't send it over Teams. Don't send it over Skype. If you need to share it, call the person.
Yeah. I was just going to say, kind of on about like the whole don't leave your computer unlocked thing. We did that in high school, except we didn't do Hasselhoff. We did the blobfish, where if you left your computer unlocked and someone discovered it, I started it actually, where my friend left his computer unlocked and I blobbed him, and so my teacher, also the IT teacher, she was like, I like that. And then she started telling everyone, like, she would come across students that didn't log out, and she would blobfish them. And so, but seriously, seriously,
Yeah, this does.
I was
This
just,
does one. Go ahead. Go.
I was just gonna say we're starting to get towards the end, and I want to start winding down. So
I do want to ask these questions, but we do need to wrap it up.
yeah,
It does. The article does beg the question of, is there need for greater oversight of corporations that handle any personal information? Because it seems like, as you mentioned, we need some sort of security revelation, because this is only growing. Our reliance on technology is also only growing. This is only going to get worse unless corporations and organizations do something about it, unless they take cybersecurity seriously, unless you stop rolling your eyes at your
123security.com.
Unless you stop rolling your eyes at your social engineering
Training.
awareness training. It's important.
I'm gonna make a bold statement, and I think, and I mean this could be completely wrong. I don't know too much of the IT world beyond my little bubble, but from what I have seen, part of the issue is the people that run the IT world are old people who are having troubles keeping up with the time.
I don't know. I don't know if that's
like
a significant factor.
Especially in businesses, from what I've seen, is their IT people are, these 50-year-old white guys who they're sweet and they're kind and they know what they're talking about, but they're like 10 years behind on technology.
I think a lot of that is part of it. I think is just as you get old, you kind of lose motivation to. Often, not always, but often people kind of lose motivation to learn new things and keep up. But I think another big part of it is we were actually recently talking about this at work. Of it depends on the workplace culture of, are you allowed to have time to learn things, to keep up with the times? Because if you don't allow your IT team time to learn, experiment, and figure out what's going on now and what's coming up, that's a problem. You're not doing yourself any, like, if you don't consider that work, you're only harming yourself. That is legitimate important work.
Yeah, I can agree with all of that. I'm gonna wrap it up just by saying cybersecurity is important, and to me it's one of the most important things. But you know what else is extremely important? Mental health and friendship. Friendship can help with mental health.
Can I go hand in hand?
Yeah, they do. Like friendship.
Can I put my hand in your hand?
Mental health can be important, and I personally have had a lot of issues with mental health. Or mental health and mental health. I've been diagnosed with a couple of things, and being able to combat them can be hard sometimes. Depression downright sucks. Anxiety is terrible. Those sorts of things.
And you don't have to go through it alone.
That's the first thing is, A, you're not alone. You're never alone. B, something that has helped me is being able to write it down. And I do just want to mention, with writing it down, I personally use something called Pixels. It used to be called... not sponsored. I legitimately support and endorse them. They do also have a Discord that I am an admin in. So if you want to come see me in there, you are always welcome to. But seriously, I've been using this app for 3 years. But something to... it's a daily mood tracker, and something that can do that. I know people that use Excel documents. You can say, how did you do today? Happy, sad, angry, upset, hungry. And then you can write out your day. Some form of daily diary, journal, something can be great. It can be amazing. It can help get your thoughts organized. And I seriously push for something like that. The reason I like Pixels is because I know they they have good intentions, good hopes. I've used others that make you pay to do stuff like that, and they're free. You can support them if you want. But, what else is free is a pen and paper. Well, okay, it's not free, but it's easy to get.
For me, I for a while had a system where I set a few categories that I wanted to rate myself in, and then so I had like 4 or 5 categories, and then another one which was just like the whole day, and I would rate each thing on a scale of 1 to 10 of how well did I do in social things, how well did I do in work, how well did I do in
Cooking.
and other sort of areas that I want to focus on and improve myself. But then at the end of the day, there's also just one that's how was my day on a scale of 1 to 10. How did I feel?
And so I seriously push for people to look at that sort of stuff, because it's no joke. Mental health is not a joke. It's important for people to deal with and tackle, but not alone. Don't ever try to think that you're alone in the situation. You are not ever. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that just real quick. I can end with a joke if we want.
Yes.
Hey, did you hear about the Italian chef?
Yeah.
He passed away.
All right.
Is that really how we're gonna end it?
Unfortunately. All
All right.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching whatever you do. If we're on in the background, we're honored. If we're on in the foreground, we're even more honored.
If we're on the TV, hello to everyone in the house. Remember that you are loved and you have a roof over your heads.
And if you're free on every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern,
Sunday.
Come join us live.
Sunday.
I'd love to have you.
It's every Sunday, or every other Sunday, not Saturday. He said Saturday.
Every other Sunday. I'm smart.
So, and also I will say, for those who want to hear the almost mugging story, that will be my hook for next time. I will be telling that next time on the podcast. The last thing is, we also, you can join a Discord. We have a Discord. That's where our after show is usually hosted. Ben, any parting words?
Drink water.
Drink water, seriously. Abby, do you have any parting words? She said, nope. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.